they couldn't love me because my real mother didn't love me either.
Who really loves me in my life?
So kiss me and smile for me. He was friendly and very, how do you say, timid. I couldn't understand what I could do wrong as a baby. But every time when I talk about it, I start to cry.
The life of a prostitute is painful, abusive, and dangerous.
God has a greater plan for your life.
Right now, I pray for land. Welcome to Treasures. Amsterdam is a city well known for its party lifestyle. Many drugs are legal, and it seems like anything goes in that city. Perhaps one of the most popular places in this city is the red light district. Here many prostitutes stand in storefront windows as men walk by looking for which one to select.
The red light district is a sad sight to see. The sex trafficking business shows no mercy. Some women that find themselves prostituting were taken by force, having been kidnapped or abducted. They are made to stand in windows selling their bodies. Others have chosen to live this life.
Many of these women are just looking for some kind of hope, some kind of deliverance. Today we want to share the story of a young woman who escaped the life of the red light district prostitute.
My name is Maranti Paul, and I was born in Indonesia, but I live in Amsterdam. And I was adopted by Dutch parents. My mother gave me away because she couldn't take care of me. And in the papers, there was the paper said that I also had an older sister that could stay with her in Indonesia. I don't know why I'm crying, because I don't feel the pain anymore, because I'm really happy that I'm safe. But every time when I talk about it, I start to cry. I have an older sister, 2 years older than me, and as a child I always wondered why she could stay with my mother and why she gave me away to other parents. So I was really insecure about who I was.
So when we talk about real basic significant needs, we all have this. We have a need to belong. We have a need to have significance. We have a need to of importance, and we have a need to contribute.
I couldn't understand what I could do wrong as a baby, because babies are innocent. So I grew up with a kind of emptiness in my heart, and I blamed my adoptive parents for all the feelings I had, and I thought they couldn't love me because my real mother didn't love me either.
So the whole message there is I'm not important. I don't belong to anybody. Who really loves me in my life? Am I significant? And can I contribute to something?
They put me out of the house. They placed me out of the house because I had also a younger sister, and it was not a healthy environment, because my behavior would damage her also and the family. I didn't want to be there. I don't know, and I didn't want to talk with them either. So I don't know why they did it exactly.
It interferes with the whole process of, bringing up kids, so they gravitate to peers. They gravitate to alcohol and drugs to repress the memories and the pain that they have.
Yes, when I talk about it, I feel what I felt then.
There are factors or things that happen in your upbringing or your family environment that puts you at risk to become addicted.
I really feel abandoned. I really didn't understand why my parents put me out of the house. And sometimes, even now, I think, why did they do that? I know children who have more problems, or the parents, they still take care of them.
There are some people that shouldn't be parents. And here's my thing is that we're not being trained adequately to be husbands and wives, and we're not being trained adequately to be parents. So when we come into these relationships, we come ill-equipped. So we don't know how to make these things happen. But who suffers are the kids because they have a basic needs for these things.
They brought me to a hospital, for psychiatric hospital. There were children who had mental problems. They cut themselves because they were really hurt. To numb the pain, they cut themselves. And there were also girls with eating disorders. But after a year, they saw that that was not the right place for me. So they brought me to a foster home, and I stayed there till I was 16 years old. And then after that, I had to go to a training center to learn to live in my own house for 1 year.
Life circumstances took their toll on Rawanti's life. She could not find her place in society.
When there's no affection, there's no training, there's no self-control, there's no protection, there's no boundaries, then you set them up to be at risk, to explore in other areas, to get those things met, and that's when they get in trouble.
I got involved in the striptease business.
Because it's lacking in their life, it sets them up to explore other areas and gets them in trouble.
Because I liked the attention in the beginning, and then I met this boy, they call it a lover boy, and he gave me attention, he gave me presents, I feel really loved by him.
So kiss me and smile for me.
So what happens with them is that most often they end up hooking up in a relationship to an abusive man.
But then after a couple of months, his character changed, and he was a really abusive man.
Those men, as I hear this, they use physical violence for control, intimidation. They have problems defending themselves. They have problems saying no. They have problems setting boundaries. And they accept the fact that they're less of a person, so this is the best thing that's going to come to them.
The liberal morality of the 60s and 70s led to an increasing tolerance towards prostitution. In the year 2000, the ban over brothels was officially lifted, and prostitution was recognized as a legal profession.
There was a girl in the foster home, and I heard that that it was not going too well with her. I tried to contact her, and then she introduced me to the striptease world, and then I started to dance.
Sometimes they'll end up either prostituting or in the strip scene,
After becoming a stripper, she lost her identity. The downward spiral she found herself in led her down a road of prostitution in the red light district.
I started to work in the prostitution. I got involved in the red light district at the age of 19 years old. Now, the red light district is really big. You have windows in a couple of cities in the Netherlands. I worked in Amsterdam, and I worked also at the boats in Utrecht, but I think they closed them now. And I worked in Antwerp.
So you're forced to, you're like hungry for interaction, you're hungry for conversation, so you're pushed to look outside of the home for those things.
Amsterdam is a city that is flexible. So, you can find everything, And it's up to you what you like as a customer. That's what you get.
Yeah, the red light district has different sections. You have the section for the bigger women, men who like bigger women. Most of the time they were also a little bit cheaper. And you had the streets where the beautiful girls were standing and working, and they were also more expensive. And then you have also a block with Dominican, African girls, women, a little bit older. They most of the time worked for themselves because they needed to support their families in their countries. And the girls in the small streets most of the time were working for a local boy or a pimp or organization. I didn't want to talk about it because I was ashamed.
Why do you do it? Why do you allow it to happen? Because she says, that's the only way I can get intimacy from a man. Because when I'm involved sexually, they're talking to me nicely. They're hugging me. They pay attention to me. I mean, of course, from their end, they say that because they want something. That's my way of attracting men and getting my needs met.
My daily routine was, I woke up, I went to the red light district, put my makeup on, do my hair, and open the windows.
And I remember the first time when I went to the red light district, it made a huge impact on me because it's like there is so much that needs to happen for a woman to stand behind a window and to sell herself, but also for a man or whoever to walk by and to stand there, For me, it was like I couldn't comprehend it.
The biggest problem for sex workers is not the work, but the stigma. The fact that you have to live a double life.
Like sex and the sex industry is really accepted here. Even in college, when I was in college, like different people from my class were prostitutes or worked on the sex line just to pay for school. I was at my job the other day and they were talking about it. So it's normal actually. It's like just a job. You pay taxes for being a prostitute.
You have to pay 21% VAT of every euro you make, or you write down in your cash book. Once a year you have to pay income tax, and that starts with 36% about of your profit.
the danger here is also because I used to work just across the red light district, and that you as a Christian, you get not used to it, but you see it, and then I think that's a danger for us here, that we are so among those things that we don't see it as like the urgency in it. Yes. So we just see it and then we like, okay, we pray for them and we go out, but then it's still there and we still cross it. So that's like something that I sometimes guard myself to, that I never see it as normal or whatever is happening, that I always see it as something that's abnormal, and that these girls and everybody involved, needs to get a way out.
They gravitate to alcohol and drugs to repress the memories and the pain that they have, or the anger.
Drinking also, I drank a lot because it made me feel happy, and I couldn't stand there sober. I remember that my sister once was looking for me at the streets in Amsterdam, but I heard it after, yes. And so I think they know. And sometimes I think maybe my real mother was also a prostitute. And maybe it's something that is continuing in the family. So it makes me really sad when I think about it.
So you're forced to shut down, you're forced to repress everything because there's nobody there that you can share or anybody being in your life. There's no affection, there's no talking, there's no conversation, there's nothing.
Well, I told my boyfriend, lover boy, I told him that I wanted to leave, that I wanted to study, I didn't want to do that anymore. And then he was so angry. He really hit me on the head with his fist. Yes, my head was so terrible. It was really terrible.
You may be watching this program and thinking to yourself, can anyone find hope in the midst of that situation? And the answer is yes. When Jesus came into her life, everything changed. Let's go back to the program to see how God was able to intervene in her life.
I met this other boy, and not so quick, but I think maybe a month between. And I met him, and his mother is a Christian, so he gave me a book to read because he saw I was damaged. I really didn't understand why my parents put me out of the house. And sometimes, even now, I think, why did they do that? But I already forgave them for what they did, and maybe I wouldn't be here if they didn't. I was going to church, but actually I didn't know what it meant to be a Christian, to live the life also. So I only went to church, and then I did my stuff outside, and I got pregnant from this boy. And then I realized, no, I have to really change my life and really live the Christian life, not only go to church, but also practice in real life.
Marlon is my friend, but I consider her my sister.
I started to work also in an office, and I met this girl, Eamon. She is from Victory Outreach, Amsterdam. I met her, and I heard that she was really involved in church, so I was curious. So I started to ask her things at work.
She started to ask me questions about the church, about God, And then we started to meet up after work during breaks. And then once we had a fashion show in the church, and I invited her there, and then she liked it, and then I invited her again for Good Friday, the Good Friday service, and then she came, and then she really loved that.
And I remember the first service was at Easter, and Sister Ludwig was sharing in a green dress, and I was thinking, wow, I don't know what she has, but I want to have it too. I don't know, she was so beautiful also. And then I started to go to a victory outreach. When I got saved, I didn't want to talk about it because I was ashamed.
I was really like getting to know her, and she wasn't really very open about her past. But when I started like discipling her, and she really got to know me, and I got to know her, then yeah, she opened up.
But what I also always noticed that there was like this anxiety in her. She got like a lot of attention, but that she was still restless and afraid. And then there were things that were obvious to me. That she was like that there was something going on.
I started to pray for healing, and I didn't tell anyone about my past. And then during a prayer and fasting week, God placed on my heart to tell someone. And I was, oh no, and I was crying because I didn't want to tell her. I want to tell someone because I wanted to start over again.
Yeah, I remember her telling me, and then then I understood why certain things happened. Because we went out to dinner, and then she told me that it was one of her old clients, and they had contact, but she wasn't working anymore. She dressed up in like jogging suits. She had like a weird ponytail. She had her glasses on, and she was eating real rude just to let him see, yeah, to throw him off. And then when I heard about her past, then those moments started to click. You know, and then I understood why she was like that and so fragile. You know, like I think she was like a beautiful person on the outside, but so really fragile from the inside.
Now I am a mother of Jael. Her name is Jael. She's 5 years old now, and I do ministry. I'm the secretary of Pastor Geoffrey.
She's a disciplined woman, really disciplined.
I study. I'm in law school. I only have to do 2 more exams, and then I'm finished.
Yay! And she is a loving person. She really puts others in front of her, and she's a giving person. She really gives her love, her heart.
Mavanti is a helper. She is always willing to help, willing to serve.
Right now, God placed something else on my heart to reach the mothers who are single in my neighborhood. So I reach out to them now. You are mindful of me. God gave me His unconditional love back. He gave me joy. He gave me back my dignity.
I think she has a potential to reach really hundreds of people, you know, to speak and to encourage and to teach young women.
She's very tender. She has a lot of patience. She likes to work with women.
Yeah, I think she will have a great impact in many women's lives.
I am really grateful that God took me out of the darkness, and even though I was so messed up and did everything what was not good in His eyes, He still saved me from the physical death, but also from the spiritual death.
It's so hard to imagine what some of these girls go through when they fall into that state of bondage. Sometimes people don't realize that some of these girls, how they start out, and little by little, they fall into that heavy bondage.
It's really sad to see. I was able to live in Amsterdam for about 7 months when I was younger. And I remember those windows, and we would walk by those windows, we were witnessing with the different people who were witness to the prostitutes and to the pimps. And you see their eyes, they look hollow. They look hollow inside. They look like really lost and like glazed over look. They're trying to smile, but you can see that they have no sense of peace, and it seems like they have no hope, the way they look. They're not even looked at as humans.
I've been there many times in Amsterdam, and I've been able to see these girls, the state that many of them are in. But I thank God that we're able to have a ministry there that's reaching out to many of those girls. And just like we have seen the change lives and all of our programs, we present the negative, and then we present the change that takes place in the lives of these people. This is why, it's the treasures out of darkness. Treasures that God is able to raise out of that lifestyle, and then God has a purpose for them, and God is able to use it. That's what I get so blessed every time I see someone that was in heavy bondage like that, had no hope whatsoever, and then Jesus comes, touches that person is changed, and it's a brand new life, and then you see the way God is able to use them. I get blessed every time.
It's so beautiful about it too. We're so grateful for God's amazing grace that Jesus actually cleansed them of all their sin. That Jesus is a forgiving God, and He comes into their life and transforms their life.
He's a loving God. He's a forgiving God. And the same Jesus that changed these girls that you've seen on the program is the same Jesus that is able to change your life. All you have to do is, first of all, recognize that you're a sinner. The Bible says, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. There's no not righteous, no not one. And even if you haven't committed any sin, you're still a sinner if you haven't opened up your heart to Jesus. And I want you to do that right now. I'm going to say a prayer, and I want you to pray this prayer with me. Say, Jesus, I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I need you within my life. And I'm asking you right now to come into my life and change me. What you have done for others, I ask you to do for me. Now, I believe that was a prayer of faith, and God has heard that prayer, and you can rest assured that He has forgiven you, and He has a brand new life for you. Therefore, if any man is in Christ, he's a new creation. All things are passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Go and tell someone about your brand new life in Jesus. Well, once again, we thank you for tuning into the program, and we'll be seeing you again next time. May the Lord bless you real good. I hope you have enjoyed our program, Treasures. Victory Outreach is a ministry that has been in existence since 1967. We've been taking the message of Jesus around the world. And we're right here in Amsterdam, Holland, opening up a brand new church, Victory Outreach Amsterdam. And God has also blessed us that we've been able to reach all over Holland and establishing our ministry in different cities. I hope you have enjoyed the program, and I hope you tell your friends about it so that they can come and hear the great testimonies that are in the program Treasures. Once again, God bless you.